Yes, hi everyone and welcome to our studio. We are Le Bureau, and who are we? We have three partners. It's myself, my name is Lee, I'm an architect and a wayfinding expert. And it was actually a master in architecture school when I went there. It was there about 2 years, and then they have to cut a lot of the master educations. So I'm one of the few who are actually an official wayfinding nerd. Then we have my two partners, Lene and Else. Lene is also an architect and graphic designer. And Else is a Master of Arts in Modern Culture and also a designer. And then we have Sissel. Oh, Sissel. You are our graphic designer and you've been with us almost from the beginning, from when you were a student. And we have Clara, our social designer, and Marta, our junior designer, and Emma, our graphic design intern. And Anna, you have just been here with us as an intern as well. Nice that you could join us tonight. And then we have Troels, who is not here, but he is my barselsvikar. I don't know what you call that in English. Anyone has? I have cue cards today because I don't sleep very much. I'm on maternal leave right now. I have a 4-month-old baby, so this is very clever. I have written down external consultant and industrial designer. That is Troels. Yes. We do a strategic design agency connecting people and places through design. And it's just as a sound. Very, very brilliantly. So I have some cases so you can see what it actually means. We do wayfinding. We do all the invisible work with strategy and analysis. So this is in Roskilde right now. We have a big project where we have done like a lot of wayfinding analysis. Like you can layer it up. This is a recreational wayfinding. This is for all the residents. You can also do it in the whole of Roskilde, so you tie all the neighborhoods together and da 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 da. And we've also done a lot of when you have identity design. So, and what does it actually mean to do identity design in a place? Does it make people more connected to the place, or what does it actually do when you're out there? This is something that we are really invested in. So we're trying to do a lot of research in this area as well. And there was another thing. Yeah, this is an old mental hospital. So it's really interesting, like how is it to live in a place that have this story, and how do we change this story without erasing the history? And then we have Stevns Kommune, Stevns Municipality, where we did a signage design. This is more like a classical signage design task. And then we do a lot of cartography. This is for wayfinding at the West Coast, like the whole of the West Coast. Then we do place identity. We have workshop and strategy for Vingeløden, which is a new neighborhood in Nørrebro. And I can't talk as much about this because it's not my field. Then we have place naming. We did it in Vingeløden, but we also did it in Korbyen. And when you do like workshops and trying to work with people finding names, like you have to sit around at a table and try to make people think and talk, and these people are not creative, so how do you do it? And my clever colleagues made like a little supermarket where they had to like place foods and stuff, and I just found it very clever, so I brought it here today. And then we have place activation, and this is in Frederiksberg Hospital, where they are doing, they're changing the hospital to a residential area. So we turned the old hair salon into like this small hub where you could find information, and then made it into an exhibition around the place. And we draw like we made all the communication into charge, like hospital charge. It was very fun to do. And just classical graphic design. We do books, especially a lot of books about different aspects of architecture. We do place identity. This is Ophelia Place. And corporate visual identity. This is a round tower. Yes, so this was actually Else's husband, who was like, Else, you have started a business every time you gave birth to a child. When we got together in Le Bureau, Lene and I had a child. So it was...
We were pregnant.
Yeah, I was pregnant. I gave birth 1 month after, you gave birth like 2 months before, or something like that. So I made a timeline here. None of us have ever been employed. We have always been self-employed, the 3 of us. And we have 2 children each. So Else started with Frederikke and got her first CVR number 2 weeks after the birth. It can be done. So all the screens are the businesses, and all the babies are the babies. Yeah, so I'm here. I'm a little bit younger than the others, so I'm all the way here. I started my first business when I was still in school, and my first clients were also the people I met back then. So that's a little tip. And then I had Eric. So Eric and Bror, they are the Le Bureau mascots. Yeah. And some of you met Margrethe outside with her dad. I'm saying his all the time because my first child was a boy. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell my personal story, and then Lene will afterwards talk a little bit about in general what you can get out of having children and a business. But in a more general term. And it's important for me to say that this is my story. It's not a blueprint. So don't think oh, is this something, should I do the same? I don't feel like I want to do it like this. Then don't. Just do whatever feels right. This is what felt right for me. Yes. Yeah, and see, this is where it's good to have a cue card so I can say all the things that I wanted to. When you talk about having children, it's an inspirational story, but it's not easy. It's really tough having a child and a business. But we grow as people when we do tough things. So just keep that in mind, that don't be scared, just it's just honest, but it's also, there are a lot of good things behind this. Yes, so this slide is called Deciding to Start a Business. It was not like a dream I had or a definite decision. It was actually because no one knew what wayfinding were. There wasn't any jobs for me. I could be a graphic designer at an architecture firm. There weren't that many jobs of that kind either. So while I was getting dagpenge, a word I don't know in English as well, but maybe you know the Danish system. If not, raise your hand. Okay. So while I was getting dagpenge, I made a website. Oh no, that's another slide. This is just a decision, yeah. But I wrote here, power of naivety. I just thought, well, I'm just gonna start my own business. I have no idea what it's going to be like, and I think that's a good way to start because then you are not scared. So this is me, and I call this slide playing the part because this is what an architect looked like with a white shirt and a black jacket. And we actually talked a lot about like who are our role models and who are influencing who we are when we're facing something where we are very much alone, which I was here, like who are we trying to be? And there are a lot of male teachers and a lot of male architects at the school. I hope it's changing, but we're hearing from our students that it's still like that, even though they're like almost all the students are female. I had a really short internship at my teacher's office, and it was short because the atmosphere there was really like, it was started by these 3 friends, guy friends, and like their humor and way of speaking to each other had like fizzled out. So you had like these 2 groups, like one group who tried to be as tough and funny, and another group who was just kind of uncomfortable. And I was actually bullied there when I was there, and it was not like I wasn't like I was, you know, I was just looking at them and I was like, why are you being such assholes? So that was like the only image I have of what it's like to be in an architecture firm, and of course that's not the story everywhere, and I actually know someone who works there who enjoys it. But for me it was like really, really negative. But it affected me, and actually in the beginning I tried to look older, because being a young woman is not like really positive. Like you can't be a young woman and go out and know something really special about something that requires that you really have a lot of special knowledge. So I cut my hair short, I bought a jacket, and I made sure to like really look tall. And when someone asked me, like when a client asked me something, I had to have an answer. And I know today, like you seem more confident if you don't have an answer to everything. But I felt like, okay, I'm an architect. It's right here. People expect me to know everything about the built environment, but that's not true. Like it's way too complex. But how would you know? I didn't know what to charge for what I did. That's like one big blank field. Like no one actually knows what to charge for what they do. I didn't know how to do taxes. I felt like when I was sending out like a tilbud, an offer for a new client, I had like these fantasies where they would phone me and just yell at me because it was like a ridiculous amount of money that I wanted. And of course that never happened. So I think I actually needed this person because it helped. Like it helped to have like this mask or something. So maybe it's not bad. Maybe it's actually good to have like a persona that you can wear, like an armor. So today I think this person is not gone. Like today we just call it hats. Like today I'm a professional person. Today I'm a mom. Today I'm a friend. Today I'm a boss. It's just more natural. Yes. So how I did it. This is a dagpenge story. I made a website that could both be like a portfolio but also a business. So I could use it both for getting a job and clients. So the first thing I did was I called someone I had freelance for who had a lot of museums, and I asked them, do you have a museum that you need redone in the near future? I can do the design as an intern, and if you like it, you can buy it. And they agreed, and instead of buying it, they hired me to projected. And after that, they kept hiring me in for projects. So that was a really like good way for them and me to get like an easy way in. And then I put the website on Facebook, and I had an she wasn't a friend, but she was in the same department as me in school in another year. And we met each other in like social gatherings, but she had gotten a job in a municipality, and they wanted someone to do wayfinding. So she saw my website on Facebook, and she wanted to help like someone new and young and fresh, which was really generous of her. So I wanted to include her in the story because people are really friendly and want to help you and support you. I've met a lot of support by the clients that I've had. Yeah, and of course, not a lot of money, and everything took like, I've written 10 times, but maybe it's like 100 times the times. Then it took me a week or more to write a single offer, because like no one teaches you how to do that. Today, of course, it doesn't anymore. So, yeah, it's a slow start. Yeah, this is also the helpful client and manufacturers. Like one of my clients, I handed in a project. It was really beautiful, but really artsy. Like it was cartography. I don't think anyone would be able to navigate via that map. But she didn't throw me out. She was like, I think it's maybe a little bit difficult to read. Like, could we try something else? And I think we have like 10 different versions of the maps. And then I was like, okay, we need to do something commercial. And then I redid it. But at school, it's like, when you hand in a project, it's really personal, like the feedback you get, and it can be really hard because it's like on you as a person. I don't think like people in the real world don't hit you as hard. Like it's much more kind, at least I think so. And then I had Nielsen & Krohmann. They are this really old workshop that does signage, and they've been around for over 100 years. And I had a teacher who took us there. They are in Rødovre. And Trine Krohmann, the daughter of the founder, she was just an angel. Like she went to sites with me and like discussed like materials and how to do things. You don't really know what to do things once you have to do something real. That was just amazing. So I think it wasn't that scary. Like these are your colleagues, like your clients and manufacturers when you're on your own, and they are good people. But then I got pregnant. I actually planned to have a baby while I was in school because then you have a lot of benefits. But as a lot of people, it didn't went that way. It took me 5 years to get pregnant. I don't know if I had started a business if I already had a baby, because then I had a lot of financial obligations. So I guess life just turns out. I talked a lot about like making the decision with Lene. And for me, it was not a hard decision. Like I always wanted a family. So again, being naive, like let's just do it and then see what comes. But maybe not everyone feels that way. But I think it's good to be naive about these things. But I'm a planner, so I made like this plan. So I'm on my own. I'm going on maternity leave. Back then, you could only get dagpenge and not like the top off. So now you can, if you're your own, you can get dagpenge, and then you can get like money from a foundation. It's like a public foundation, so that you will earn what you did before. So that's the same if you're employed by a company. So it's more equal now. So it was important for me to have enough money so I could save up for my pension, because I think it would be nice to have money when you're old as well. So that was 6 months of dagpenge, and then I split my parental leave with my husband, so I had 6 months and he would have 6 months. And then I have saved up for 3 months pay, so I would have 3 months to like restart all the projects that were on a break, plus pension. And then after that it would be like before, hopefully. And I had planned like the first 3 months would be a baby bubble, and then I would start part-time working and getting back in touch with my clients, and then back to work. And I actually followed this plan, and it worked pretty well. But there's a little thing that's changed, but I'll get back to that in a minute. So I met these 2 women. So the plan included them all of a sudden. Yeah. So instead of like having to save up money, I had a company that could actually pay me money. It's still your own money, but you're more people around it. But an advice is to get something who knows something about money. We have a numbers lady called Mie. Yeah, love Mie. Yeah.
Yeah. I just have a question. Like, how did you know that these were the right guys or women to team up with?
They saw potential in wayfinding. I think actually that was it. And plus Elsa and I really had some good laughs. I really missed I missed colleagues. I had my own employees at some point that was really lonely. Because when you employ someone, they are not your partners. I found out afterwards. You are the boss and you're alone and you have all the responsibility and no one to share it with. And if you're trying to share it with your employees, it's just, you can't, like they shouldn't worry about financial stuff and all the things that comes with being the owner. So I wanted someone who could see the potential in wayfinding. Because it has huge potential, but I didn't really find anyone, like it wasn't that sexy. And then Lene and Else called me. There was this competition about wayfinding at the West Coast, and we teamed up. So we had like 1 year where we worked together, where we could test it, basically. And it was just really, really good. So it was like dating. So couldn't it be fun if we? Yes, but really, like yeah, really. Oh, okay. Yeah.
How come you didn't start as their employee? Like you started as a partner, right? Or you just found it?
We didn't like why I began in Le Bureau, or?
No, but because Le Bureau, you already started the agency, right? Mm-hmm. So how come you didn't join in first as an employee, but you jumped in as a partner?
We didn't know each other back then. We just started the company coincidentally the same year, yeah. Okay. But no, we didn't know each other. I think I saw a picture of 2 really cool ladies, and I was a little bit afraid of them. That's actually true. So when you called me, like that was the image I had of you. But no, we didn't know each other. Yeah.
I was just wondering when did you start thinking about saving up for pension?
I did that when I think it was maybe 1 or 2 years in. I think there's like this saying that 3 years after you started a company, that's when it starts rolling financially. And I think that's true because then like the word is out and people know you, projects are rolling. So I think after 2 years I could afford it. And I had a thing with like paying the least amount of money to myself every month because when you're alone you just pile up the money anyway, so you can do whatever you want. But if you sign up for a pension, like they want you to put in money every month because you sign a contract. So you can't just say this month I can't afford it. So you have to have money and you have to know that the money are going to keep coming if you want a pension. And if you're not a part of a company, it's not all the pension companies that can make a pension for you. So it's a little bit special. But you can always like just do like buy stocks or something, and then that's your pension. If you're not sure that you will have money every month.
I did something else. I had like every month, like every year, in the end of the year, I just had it, and I cannot remember what account it was, but there was like a certain account, and then I just saw how much did I have left, and then I just paid like one fee every year, and
Yeah.
that was like my start of my pension. And then some years it was like, you know, okay, not a lot, but it was okay, and other years it was not, and otherwise it was like different from year to year. So that was the way I started. Yeah, and you can still do that.
Did you have a question as well?
Just a question about how you did the pension thing. Was it investing in stocks? Or
It was actually really like classic way. In a like you have a pension. So I actually heard a podcast from Zetland where they tried out different pensions who were investing in green tech and stuff like that. I found out later that they didn't invest my money in that. Like I actually don't know what they invested in. No, so she narrowed, like the journalist narrowed the field because I don't know anything about that either. And they were like, Merkur Bank, they do pensions for independence. And I was like, great. And then they invested in bæredygtige, sustainable stocks. So I contacted Merkur, and they made a pension for me, which was AP pension, and now it's just one big mess because I'm not independent anymore. So I have emails from both the bank, which is not my bank, and the pension. But I needed to do that back then because I was independent. But I think the difference is something to do maybe with taxes, but I really am not an expert, as you can tell. You can.
I think we'll have another talk.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, I think you should because, and there are so many ways of doing it.
We're going to do that.
and investing.
Yeah, and investing. Yeah. I'm really not the go-to person. This was just me. I'm gonna do this. But get something to do your books for you, because if you're going to go on parental leaves, it's not become easier since the new law about the more weeks for my husband and I will go to the websites and we're like, is this the right website? Because there's also this website, and they say, and then 6 weeks, and then you can share 5 weeks, and then you get, and you're like, they don't want people to have children. So if you're alone, like, don't try to figure it out on your own. Get someone to help you. Yes. Yeah. The only thing I have left to say about this picture is that here is a stroller with a boar sleeping. Yeah. And Lene is very anxious that there's not like a spot on her shirt in this picture. Yeah.
That's why I'm standing so still.
Yeah. But no, this is really, like, I really love this photo. I'm so happy that we did it.
And actually, also, when we took that picture, we were like, should we show that you were pregnant?
Yeah,
Should we
yeah.
not? And we're like, yeah, they actually don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Because normally you would not do that. You would like kind of say, oh, no, I'm working.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm here.
yeah.
You can just call me off.
Yeah,
So, but we was like, no.
yeah, yeah. We try to be like, this is not the end of the world. This is not a, yeah. And we did,
Yeah, we did.
especially Else. You did it, Else.
But what you will have, like, if you're like yourself, not joining?
That should be.
Yeah, yeah. This is perfect. I am fortunate to have a really special field, so my clients couldn't replace me that easily. I think it's different if you have a more generic work. A lot of my clients have known them for years, like they were really my colleagues. So I had a feeling like they could wait for me, and they did. But I don't think I wanted to give it that much thought because I was going to have a baby, so I just wanted to see if it worked, and it did. And again, people were really kind. But I had saved up for, like, I had the 3 months where I were working part-time, so I could start up slowly, and then I had the 3 months saved up pay if I needed more leverage.
But an important thing is that, you know, when you're away, of course, then all the trying to get new clients is like a big part of your everyday life. And so when you get back,
there's no new sales.
Yeah, there's no new sales.
Yeah.
So that could be really hard when you're alone.
Yeah, but you are probably going to lose money in this period of time and business. Yeah. I call this my Camilla Plum moment, if anyone knows her. And Eric is also really handsome in this picture. He didn't really sleep that much. I didn't really sleep. Yeah, no, yeah. Thank you, Matthias, for standing right outside the window. I felt like I slept less than when you go through the toughest military training, because they at least know that they can go on weekend leaves. Yeah. Sisterhood. Yeah. Well, it was really overwhelming for me to become a parent. It was also really like spiritual and reconnecting to everything, and everything was just up in the air, and like one day felt like a year. And it's really, really tough. But then one day it's over, so it's not like the end of the world. It's gonna get better. This is just like months. You were hoping that I would say days. But you know that you can survive not sleeping. Like you get tougher. And I had these two amazing women come and help me. I asked for help for the 3 months where I worked part-time. This is my mom, and this is my mother-in-law. And they came twice a week and took care of Eric while I worked. And they became a really big part of his life, and like it just felt right. It felt like how it takes a community to raise a child. So it was really nice, and I got to know my mother-in-law really well. We got to talk about a lot of different things that we would never get a chance to talk about. And I'm really privileged that I have a big family and I have these people in my life. Maybe other people have someone else to ask for help, but I think you should ask for help. I don't think it's natural to bring up a child alone. Like, get people in there. Yeah, so I was just sitting at my table and they would be around, and it was not perfect, but it was okay. Yeah. And in those months we stayed in contact. Like, I came in here and came to Else's birthday, and this was actually a work day where we had like field work. Had a lot of people on a tour where we interviewed them, and Else took Bror along, and I just felt like this is really cool that you can do this, and everyone is just okay with that. And we worked through it. Yeah. Yeah. So this is about not losing clients, actually. So this was when my husband, he took over his my parent leave. So this is our summer holiday. We went over and visited one of my clients, and he took us on a tour. So as I said before, I just had a really close relationship with them. They do become like your colleagues. And I've written down here, Lene's point with no time or energy for getting new clients. Yeah, you've heard all this before. I'll just skip this. So when we were away, this is Anna Therese. She was our first student. We got her when Else was all alone in the office. So you guys all tried it before, and you tried to substitute Lene with a person, but found out that you can't do that. Like, when you have your own business, like, you have so many hats. You're the one who's the face. Like, you're drawing in new clients. You have a lot of knowledge about what you do, prior knowledge about projects, maybe some special knowledge. Maybe you have like a lot of different skills. Like, no one can replace that. So this time, instead of trying to find substitutes, we hired Anna Therese. She was an architecture student, so she could like fill in with technical drawings, not design work, but like easy tasks. And we had freelancers like illustrators doing maps, and then I would get the map and I would go through it and redraw it. But it wouldn't take as long as if I had done it from scratch. But it was difficult to find someone who could just like deliver something that you would have delivered. And it was actually this way that we started hiring people, because we were on maternal parental leave. So this was also like the beginning of becoming bosses, which is like a whole nother level of experience, and not something you just do like it all. It's also something you have to learn. Yes. And then my leave came to term after this 6 months, and my husband took over, and he sent me a selfie a day. So cute. And he's also a career person, so he understands what it takes like to work a lot. So that was, it creates some equality between you. And sharing the parental leave actually made us more equal in our relationship, because I found out that how it was to not know every intimate detail of what Eric was eating and when, and what clothes were available, and when to take him to the doctor. And Matthias had to find out about that. And then I got to know how it feels like to get all the texts like, when are you coming home? Like, are you not leaving yet? Like, haven't you gone yet? I'm like, I'm really trying to do my best here. So that was really, really good. So at the other end of the phone each morning, it was me on the train looking like this, because I was still breastfeeding. I was still not sleeping. So like, if you're breastfeeding, it's like still a lot of work on the woman. But yeah, what can you do? My hair was so bad. Like after 3 months, I started losing my hair. I became really bald. This was taken from it's the same period of time. It could have been the same day. Yeah, so these are my two personas. So it's like when you're standing outside the door, it's like, of course your clients don't want to know that you haven't been sleeping, because they want to know that their projects are being taken care of. So that was like a given for me. What was not a given is that maybe your employees don't want to know either. But Lene wasn't sleeping either, because we had like children of the same age, so we were kind of each other's support system. And then Else one day was like, so maybe you're kind of giving the impression that it's like the end of the world. Maybe some of the young women we have here, they're a little bit afraid of having children now. And we were like, okay, maybe you should actually also like leave it outside the door. Also for your own, like be your own cheerleader. I think you become more tired if you're talking about it all the time. So just leave it at home. I'm gonna try to do it this time, definitely. And of course we're not going to do it perfectly, and no one wants you to be perfect, but no one wants to hear you brokke. Huh? Yeah, complain, like no one wants to, and you don't want to hear yourself complain all the time. So that's like a big headline for me when I get back, like just leave it outside the door for everyone's sakes. And then I was like, when I was at the end of this, it's like, was this too negative? Was this like too non-inspiring? Like, why having a business at all if it's like, what's the positive side? So this is what this slide is about. So the autonomy and freedom is like everything. And I think also if you do this, it's because you can't help it. Like you have so many ideas and thoughts and things you want to try out, so it comes natural. And we are entrepreneurs by heart. And now I just really love the work family that we have created. It's just a joy coming in here, and I look forward to coming back. And why having a family at all? I think Else heard or read an article about someone like, or was it your husband's job? Like young women, like hearing other mothers like complaining about how tough it is. So they're like, why do you even have a child? And I mean, I love having a family. There are some tough moments in the beginning, but it's not like that's gonna end at some point, and like my everyday life is not stressful at all. It's just happy at home and happy here. So it turned out really well. Yeah, so I think it's very tough in short periods of time. It's like when you're busy at work, it's really tough in short periods of time, and then you have really good moments, and it's just life. But it's really difficult to explain why you want a family, because like it feels just like a natural urge, because you love your memories of having a family, you want to recreate it maybe or something like that. Yeah. So that was my story. Thank you for listening. Well, let's have a break. Det kan være, jeg skal gå ud til Margrethe nu.
So thank you so much. And you have a screaming baby.
Yes, I'm gonna go.
So we're gonna have a break for 15 minutes.
Nå.
Ja, nu er hun faldet i søvn.
Nå, for søren.
Men hun skal have noget at spise.
Ja, lad os sidde og sætte.
That's kind of your cue. We have some more wine. We have been pouring a lot. So maybe just pour a little to begin with, and then we can always fill up afterwards. So we're going to open the glasses of bottles, and then all about community and say hello and how are you to strangers. And then you're like, how do you do it? So I made a question you can ask someone you would like to talk to. And it goes like this.
I just want to tell a little about us in Le Bureau, and also that we are a female company. And when we started, we never thought, we want to be just women or girls, and that was just something that happened. I've always had companies with women and a couple of guys, but Else and I, we just met and we clicked, and then we met Lee and we clicked, and we could just as well have been, one of us could just as well have been a boy or whatever. And so when we started, we were like, we're just 3 women. And then we discovered that a lot of people actually were talking to us about that we were just women. And we were like, well, okay. And then more people was talking about it, and we could see that when we were getting applications, it was a lot of women, very few guys. We had one guy in the start, and then he stopped, and then we got Sissel, which was really good also. And then we were like, we're just women. Yeah, that's so cool in some way. And I'm like, I have 2 boys, so I also want to make sure that the world is not just taken over by us women, but it's but then we also, when we had also our interns coming here, they were also very happy that we were only women. They were like feeling safe to come to a place where we were just women. And we also now know that a lot of women have had some difficult times as a woman, as a young woman working. So in that way, we were very happy to have a place that we can feel safe as a woman. And now we have Troels, which is like not a girl. Yeah, it's a secret. Yeah, and as also when we had an intern talk, there was like, is that a man? Do you have a man at the office? And we're like, yeah, we actually do right now. So it's kind of weird because we also love men. So, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. I'm looking at my cards here, and I actually, because I'm getting older, that I'm actually needing glasses, which is a new thing. But yeah, so that's kind of why we are women. all women here right now and talks. And he's so sweet. He's like, he's very good at washing our the tables, and we're like, damn, he's good at washing the tables. And we're like, and he's like, yeah, and we're like, no, yeah, nothing, yeah. Well, when you have your own company, and also when you become a mom, you have a free MBA in project managing. Like when you have your own company, you are you have the serious talks, you do your budgets, you clean, you say to yourself, "You're fired," or "I quit." But you just have so many hats on, and you also in a day have to jump from projects, like large projects, like clients saying, oh, can you do this fast? And then you have to change so many times during the day. And we all do that also when we're just not, when you are working in a company, but when you are here, you just have to think about so many things when you are at the office. And also when you are self-employed, you also very often bring your work with you home. That's kind of my experience, and I think also both Lee's and Else's experience when also you've been like alone with your own company. And then when you become a mom, then you have to multitask, which is really not something that is very good to multitask, but you just have to do so many things. Like before you guys came, I had to pick up my boys because my husband, he has like a shop, so I have to pick up the boys, like get the food going. Oh, there's someone coming to pick up some clothing, and and she's coming, and then the kids are fighting, and then you have to write a fast mail because you just remembered that's something you had to do, and then so you also just have so many hats on at home, and many of them are also, you kind of mix them all the time when you also have your own company. So that's one of the things that you have to do a lot, I think, as a mom. And also when you're here, you have to be very efficient. You have to work really fast. You cannot talk too much, which is really hard for me and Lee, because we love to talk, and we love to talk to grown-ups, and we have them here at the office, and it can be really hard for Sissel and Else, who are like more quiet, and they're like, yeah, and we want to work. And we, I have to go and pick up the kids at the bus at, 4 sharp, otherwise they will cry. So, it's just very important to really do your job very fast. Where, in the old days, I would just sit until 8, until 9, you could just work all day. So in that way, you really learn how to manage your life. And the thing is just that all these project things you have to manage is really not free, because, it just costs a lot of money for you to get a child, and you don't get so much pension. I'm not so cool as Lee is with like a schedule like that where I have things like. It's not been like that for me. So I haven't saved up in the same way, and also there is just it just costs a lot of money to be a woman who wants to be a mom, because you are away a lot. It can be hard to go up in your degree at work and stuff like that. There's just many things that's expensive for you in that way. So it's not free, but you really do a lot. I think we're so cool. Totally. And I think we do, I'm sorry, but I think that's maybe also my generation. We just do so much more than the men. I think, not really maybe, Lee's husband is super cool, but, my generation of, women, we just we are so much in control of making play dates and all this, the things that you cannot measure, all the things that is not making like lunch and things like that, but all the like contacting the dentist and like all these extremely like buying the presents for the birthday for the kids, and it just takes a lot of energy, and you have to plan a lot. So in that way, I think we're super cool. Yeah, I'm sorry, but so yeah. But yeah. But I think the new generation, and I really count that you who don't have children yet, just really make sure that you set boundaries early on in your relationship. And yeah. Well, I think also because we are so many women here, and I think we had a lot of empathy here. It kind of also is a big part of our work culture. I think we are very good at understanding each other's needs, and also we also encouraging each other to say like, I just this project I cannot crack it. I really have no ideas, or I just don't know how to do this, and just say it. Then we'll figure out how can we do that. Actually, it can be very strong to be like say I cannot do it, or I don't feel in the I'm blocking, because instead of sitting like a whole day getting nothing done because there's something that doesn't work for you, it can be easier to say, well, then talk to someone else or give it to me, and we can try to kind of talk about it tomorrow. I think that is something that we really would like to, that you can feel safe and come to us and say, this is not how it works for me right now. And yeah, that's the question.
Yeah. So we also have a lot of students here
Yeah.
from different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And I think it's really great to have that kind of culture.
Mm.
And I felt like when I was an intern
Yeah.
and I was a student and just starting in my career,
Yeah.
I felt it was easier for me to put up my hand and be like, I'm fucking stuck.
Yeah.
I have no ideas. I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm doing.
No.
Now I've been in the industry for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's harder for me to raise my hand, even though I still have like days or weeks where I feel like drained or like stuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, because I feel like there's an expectancy of you with more experience never getting into that space.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I just have that in my head.
Yeah.
And how can you create a culture where that is okay?
We're trying to just say it loud, and that it's okay to do that. All of us, yeah. And also that I can sometimes also say to you, or you can say, right now I don't know what to do. I need someone else to talk to me about this. Because you get a lot of things you can do in your backbone, and it's just so many things will be super fine when you have been in your field for many years, because then it's easy for you to do. But there will always be, when you're a creative person, there will always be like places where you feel insecure, or that it's just hard for you to kind of get it in that thing. And also sometimes it's just, I actually don't know the thing in, I was gonna say InDesign, but actually it would be Illustrator here. We have a big, because I do everything in InDesign and everyone is laughing at me, but yeah, I can't do a shit of things in Illustrator, in InDesign, yeah. But if I'm suddenly over in another program and I want to do something that I normally could do in InDesign, then I easily also say, I don't know how to do this. Cecil or someone else, can you please come and help me? So also be able to do that. And of course, I can also sometimes, make everything a little noisy when everyone is talking, like that, because we have an open space. So yeah.
We also had an intern at one point where it was like one of the first weeks, and she told me that she was actually quite surprised that everyone could have insecurities also when you're in a business, or like everyone is able to express their insecurities, even though it's partners or they're supposed to be the grown-ups.
Yeah.
Also still have times when it's like, where you need other people to help or join in.
And when you say grown up, do you mean that me? I'm really not sure about it, but I think, and that's, that's the thing about getting older, is that you are like like that. Yeah. You'll see. Yeah. And then again, I'm already talking a lot. Yeah, but when I decided actually to ask Else to marry me with a company, then I've had lots of companies a couple of times and with friends, and then I was working alone, and I was quite bored because I had a lot of the same clients for many, many years, and I didn't feel that I was challenged, and I was also trying to get children. I couldn't, so I was like, I needed something else to do, like happen in my life. And then I talked to you about, because we were sitting in the same room and we had the same office, and we had done a lot of projects together, quite many. And then and we were not really sure if it worked with one of your big clients. So and then I was offered a job, and I'd never had a job before, so I really didn't know what that would actually, if I wanted that. But when I was presenting all my projects, I was saying, well, I did this with Else, and I did this with Else, and I did this with Else. And it's like, why do you not have a company with Else? And I'm like, and he's like, it's typical women. I'm like, what? I'm like, Else, we're having a company now. I was like, yeah. And we both, I had many companies at this time, but I was like really provoked by that. And then that was really good. So I said no to the job. And then we started Le Bureau, and then we got Le as well. And I just really love to be together, because it's just so much easier in so many ways. I mean, we all know when you're sitting working on a project, and we can do so many sketches. Oh, we got so good at sketches, and sometimes we just don't have time for all those things. We have to also like close the project, and then it's really nice to have someone we can say, what do you think, and then really fast we have taken some very serious decisions, and you have also like put the words on why do we want to take these decisions. So work-wise, that way is really good, but also going from I to we in males, just when you are alone, it's very, if people say, no, I don't really like that, it's like, oh, he does not like me. It's like, when we are more, it's more like we are a group, and it's like, it's fine. And I really love that. And then also, it can be really hard for you to strategize with yourself alone in a mirror. It's just like, where do you want to go? It's not so much fun as when you are with someone else. And we have all been very lucky that we actually also had many of the same dreams and visions that also create a really great environment. And then also, when we have been away on maternity leave, it's a really hard word for me to say, then when we started up with the first, I went away, and then Else was all alone, and then we got a student. It's really wonderful that someone else is fighting for your company, and the same when as Lee says, that we are here and we fight, and keeping her company alive is something that makes it makes us connected and grateful for each other, and so in that way, that's also very special that we understand each other's needs for help, and also I'm looking at you, but also we also understand each other very well when someone is like having a sick child, or then we just say, yeah, go home, because we all also know how that is. So it's quite easy to just say, yeah, don't sit here. You have to do that, and that kind of support is really nice to have. And then we were not friends before we met each other. We were a little, because we've been sitting together, but my other companies has been with some of my best friends, and you've had companies with their best friends, and it's, you know, I had like my boyfriend had a company with his best friend, and my girlfriend that I had a company were dating. They were like, we were like, you know, together all the time, and it can be really hard on a relationship like that. So in that way, it's been really great for us to not have all those friendship feelings in the start, in the sense of all those layers. And now, you know, I have like 2 wives, and we have a very strong family feeling, maybe more than a friendship, which is really nice. And we of course see each other to all kinds of things, but it's been really nice that we have, like, very often you go like 2 friends together and create a company, and it's been different for us, and I think it's actually been good for us. Yeah. Yeah.
So currently I'm working at a small agency as well. There are 3 partners and me.
Yeah.
And before that I worked at a big agency, like 60
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So on a like almost day-to-day basis, I'm really struggling to like navigate in this business partners or friends.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where does the line go? Is it what I tell or what I don't share? And like, I'm finding it hard to find like the line, or silver line, because you're also talking about being empathetic and like telling, okay, this is going on at home and so on. So, how do you like, where does the line go? Sort of?
It's really hard for me to answer that, and I think also when we started working, it was just the 3 of us, and so we, in that way, also had like a very private conversation, and then we started having, you know, you guys, and then it's been for us also like a way to also learn how to kind of, because I can, you know, talk a lot, as you can hear, and I can also talk a lot about private things, but I think also, like, as Lee also said, you know, some things you cannot like come and like scare all women at the office about like having children because we're so tired. So there's some things we have to kind of like, you know, keep from them, or if, oh my God, now we didn't get that client, you know, oh my God, what's going to happen with the finances? I mean, not that it's, things like that, I think also, you know, you have to kind of keep away from your employees, but I think also that, actually I would say that all the interns we've had, is like, I don't want them to leave. First of all, I was like, wow, is there so many cool graphic designer women? I mean, like, or I guess they're super cool. And then I'm like, oh, we just really fall in love with them, and I feel they are a family. So in that way, I think we have a very private room here. I think it would be different if we were bigger. I really don't know what to answer to that question, because I think it's really hard line. And yeah, but I think it can, especially also if you are alone with 3 partners, I think also that would be hard to figure out. Yeah. But I think it could be something that could be interesting for us all to talk about, you know, work, because I think we all, like, I know how Ilse likes her coffee. I cannot make it for her, but I know exactly how she likes it, and I know so much about, like, you know, what kind of spices these girls like and stuff, and because we spend so much time together. Yeah, we so much time, much more time than, you know, I'm almost with my children. So in that way, you know, it's very important that you really feel when you go to work that you enjoy going to work, because you're spending so much time there. And also that you have that connection where you feel that you can be who you are. Yes. And something about age diversity. Actually, also Ilse and I, we said, oh my God, they're so young here. And I think it's just because that, you know, suddenly you get older, and Lee is, you know, quite younger than me and Ilse. We are around, I turned 50 on Sunday. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's really. Did we tape that? I'm not really happy about that. But yeah. So, but that's a yeah. No, but as we're all, also one of the reasons that we started together was because we felt that we're like, if we wanted a job, do we know any women who is 65 working in a cool design studio? And I was like, no. And we're like, what? Where are all women who are above 60? Who are graphic designers? I don't know. I'm like, okay, we need to have something where we can be like, growing. And then we have like someone who's also younger. And that's actually also something which is like, I think is really great because we have all our interns who are, I could be their mother sometimes, in their how old they are, and which is I don't understand that, but also then we have like many generations here, and I think it's so great because it's important for all of us. I've been through a period where orange was really hot, and I'm like, no more orange ever more in my life, and then Cecil can come and say, this kind of orange is like super hot. And I'm like, I've done that. I'm not going down that road again. And she's like, well, you have to, yeah. And in that way, it can be really great to have people who are different ages, and also because then I can be really good at something else, So I think it's really interesting to have all these different age groups together. So. And as the last part is also role models. And when I went to the architect school, again, as Lee also said, like most of my teachers were men, and I maybe could only say one international name of an architect who was a female. I really didn't know many like famous female architects. And I, as I said before, I have not seen that many, like in Denmark, graphic designers who are, can be a role model for me, who are older than me. I can also, of course, have role models who are younger. And I think I would like to be 65 and a graphic designer who has like a cool company. And I think you all want to do that. So we have to kind of also make sure that we have all these different types of role models, and also that all of you guys are probably going to be role models already now, and really think about I'm a role model, and I think that's a very important lesson for all of us to like have and say it's important for us to go out there and make sure that we want to have long lives as graphic designer or designers, and also that soon some of you are in the 20s, and soon maybe you are in your 30s, but then also inspire the ones who are in the 20s, and then of course also support each other, which is really important. Like I think that's just the most important we can do. Yeah. So on that note, yes. Questions? Yeah. Yeah.
I really believe in the role model concept.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing all the masks.
Yeah, I think that's great.
So I wanted to ask you, how do you facilitate that at the school? Like you have so you have a lot of juniors coming in, or interns, and you're seeing some parties. How do you think about this within your agency, and how do you facilitate mentorship or role model?
Well, actually, we really haven't talked about role models. It's actually a thing that is really new for us, and especially also when we're having you guys over, we started thinking about something like that was something that we were missing from my generation, for our generation, and also as Lene said, she had also lots of male professors, and so in that way, it's important to have. And then I also just talked to another architect who has a company, and she's a female, and she was like saying, well, you know, someone said, you know, you are the role model. I'm like, what? And then we just, I think it's because we still feel that we are so young. You know, that actually, that I didn't think that I could be a role model. And I think we should all think that even though we feel younger, that we are still role models for the next generation, and already start thinking of that. And also in that way, we talk to people, like, you know, talk in a way that you want to be like a role model way, like also the way you want to, you know, a nice way where people can get inspired. So I think that that can be a way to start. Yeah. Any questions? Very quiet.
You're making it sound like it's so easy to have a company.
Well,
what, you never had any like troubles having this company together, and how do you handle these things?
I mean, I think we do have, you know, problems. We can always have, you know, like clients where like we are not the perfect fit, or where there are actually problems. But I think, you know, because I think for now we're still a very young company, and for now we have like a very nice, good relationship, which I hope we're gonna have forever. But it's just then we just can really support each other. So sometimes like we can also be very frustrated, but I think it's more of, you know, some project or something that has happened. But I think we as a family, Le Bureau family, has each other's back, and that's really makes it nice. And you know, Lene also said, you know, it's, you know, sometimes it's hard to be a mom and have a family. I think like it's really hard all the time. Yeah. And I have like 2 boys, one who's 3 and one is 7, and they are like monkeys, like climbing on everything and jumping, and like your house is a mess and everything like that. And you also have a lot of work. So in that sense, it's super hard when you also have children. But I really look forward to going to work every day and have like a hot cup of tea, which is like you cannot have at home, but also like to have my colleagues. So that's why I also say, you know, it's so important that you have a good every day. I think that's very important. And if you are a place where you are not, where you don't feel safe, or you don't have a nice everyday, I think, you know, think about, you know, is that what I want? I mean, and sometimes, you know, I have to be a place because the projects are super cool. And I know lots of people who's been like some years at very big studios, and then they've gone to other studios because they wanted like a nicer everyday, because it's been too hard. So I think, I mean, I just, yeah, we really like to work together. Yeah, I think that's that's important.
It's just about this thing about having a company with friends.
Yeah.
Like you said that you'd had companies with friends before,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe you run into some obstacles
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
And like, have you now made any arrangements with your business partners to sort of get around when you have a different opinion or financial decisions, or like what? How?
We have like there's all these kind of different like contracts you should make, which is really good. And I think also when you're friends making a company, you don't think about that. You just start, which is really great. But then maybe further on, you should think about that. And in these contracts, there are like all these bullet points you have to go through, and the language is really awful to read because it's like really it's like, what is it? Yeah. But it's very important things that you have to talk about, and we have done that, and we take it up sometimes and discuss it. And also we are also very often trying to make sure that we are on the same page where we want to go. I think that's very important for us to like make sure that we're going on the right path. And I think even if, I mean, also loved having, you know, companies with my friends, but it can just be also a little hard if you also see each other all the time. I think it can be on the long run, it can be a little hard that way. Not for all, but for some. And I think it can also be a little harder to have those discussions with friends because you have so many layers in a friendship. And of course we also do have that, but it's just, yeah. Yeah, but you know, go have companies, go have babies.